next on the agenda? Okay, we're doing amendments next.
We're live streaming whenever you want to open back public session.
Okay, can I get a motion to open back into public session?
Madam Chair, I move to be open session.
Second?
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ashley, I think next is the amendments.
Yes. All right, good morning, everyone. We have two amendments today. The first one I'm going to explain is Central Carolina Academy. So they are scheduled to open this August in Lee County. They will serve grades 6 to 10 in year one with a projected ADM of 282 students. And they are seeking a change to their lunch program from their original charter application. Originally, they had planned to use local vendors for school lunches. However, Central Carolina Academy is a replication of Chatham Charter, and as you know, you recently approved Chatham Charter to join the National School Lunch Program. And they have developed a successful relationship with the school nutrition services of Chatham County. So they have agreed to also provide lunches to Central Carolina Academy. So this request is simply that they are able to amend their lunch program and implement the National School Lunch Program. They're also an NC Access grant recipient and will use a weighted lottery with an anticipated 35% educationally disadvantaged students. In addition to a full school nutrition program, they will provide transportation. Any questions?
We do them individually?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a motion relative to Central Carolina?
I'll make that motion, Eric Sanchez, that we approve the amendment to let them enroll in the National School Lunch Program.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Can we take a roll call vote, please, Ashley?
Mm-hmm. Terry Stoops?
Aye.
John Eldridge is recused. Bruce Friend?
Aye.
Rita Hare?
Aye.
Hilda Parlay?
Approves.
Shelley Bullard?
Aye.
Cheryl Turner?
Aye.
Todd Godby?
I think we lost Todd.
Okay. Eric Sanchez?
Aye.
All right. This passes and will go to State Board in July. We have one more today. This is Art Space Charter School. They are requesting to implement a weighted lottery. They are located in Buncombe County, serving grades K to 8. They've been in operation for 21 years and currently serve approximately 400 students. They are a Title I designated school, and for the last 5 years, they have averaged between 36 and 42% economically disadvantaged students. For comparison, according to the federal data, Buncombe County Schools currently enrolls 41% economically disadvantaged students. For this current school year, Art Space enrolled 38% economically disadvantaged and has set a goal to enroll a minimum of 55% economically disadvantaged students through a weighted lottery implementation. Per all of the weighted lottery requests, our office works with the school to make sure that their policy and the implementation is done according to best practices. This school has also taken additional steps to ensure that there's increased access to families, including revising the recruitment and application processes, making bilingual materials readily available, supporting or hiring additional support staff, providing transportation, improving their student nutrition services, and improving their after-school tutoring and enrichment services. So they've done a nice job of providing the full kind of wraparound services that we like to see for schools that are going to be serving an increased number of economically disadvantaged students.
Any questions? Can I get a motion then?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the Art Space's weight lottery request.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
All right. Terry Stoops.
Aye.
John Eldridge.
Aye.
Bruce Friend.
Aye.
Rita Hare.
Aye.
Hilda Parlay.
Approves.
Shelley Bullard.
Aye.
Cheryl Turner.
Aye.
Todd Godby. Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, this passes, and I believe, Serena, you may be on the call. This will go to State Board in July, and I will keep you posted on that. All right,
Thank you.
that concludes amendments.
Okay, so now charter application update and assignments, Melanie Rackley.
Good morning, Melanie Rackley with the Office of Charter Schools. Update regarding our 2022 application cycle. We did receive, prior to our close on April 29th, we received a total of 20 applications that were submitted for consideration by CSAB for this cycle. And so we have our calendar presented for you all. Our interview calendar is set to run from September to December. And so we'll start off in September hearing from our 4 accelerated applicants. And then we'll also in September hear from standard applicants who are also affiliated with the accelerated group that the EMO. So we have a total of 2 new EMOs coming in for consideration this cycle. So again, we will go ahead and combine your accelerated application legacy with the remaining 2 EMO schools in the month of September. October will be quite a jam-packed month as well. I think that's 6 or 7 schools that we have there. Yep, 7, and then any second round accelerated folks that you need to hear from in October. So we'll do that. And then in November, you'll have an additional 7 schools. We won't hear any second round in November. So any of the standard applicants that you recommend for a second application would be heard in the month of December.
When do the accelerated have to go to the state board?
So they would go in November, right?
And we'll send this to all board members for your.
So yeah, and so again, we'll start off with the accelerated folks. We'll have the other 2 standard applicant folks that are affiliated with the EMO there in month 1. Month 2, if you all vote for any second round folks, that'll be folded into the October calendar. We don't have second round for November. But then any folks that you want to hear back from would go in December. We also have an additional EMO that we're going to hear from slated for open in Charlotte MEC. And so the due diligence process for that will be complete. There's also due diligence that we did on ATA, including some new information. We have some of the management agreements we've asked as part of the completeness check when we vetted all of the applications. We asked that we have management agreements, executed management agreements from these EMOs. We do have them from the vast majority. There are some applicants who, based on their logistics, are not able to execute the management contract. They have CSAB approval. So when they come in front of you all, that management agreement is not executed. And so what they've said is that until they get approval, they're not able to execute. So the drafts are there.
The draft of the agreement, but
Yeah.
we will have they could change it to anything they want after, and we would have no idea what they were changing it to. That's a good thing to know.
And so also within this timeline, the evaluators, the external folks are doing all of these summaries over the summer months. And so the applications are open for you all to begin reading now in accordance with this calendar. So you can read the first ones that will appear, in order received that way. But we've asked that the evaluators have all of their summary feedbacks by August 15th in order to prepare for the September calendar. And so I will, and OCS will be sending all of the due diligence documents as it relates to the EMOs to you all over the summer months. So it's really imperative that, the reading, begins now. Everyone should have access to the platform. If there's anyone that on CSAB that needs that access, certainly reach out and we can make sure that we get you your credentials for the platform.
Ashley has assigned applications to committees, and we'll make sure you get that list of which committees have which applications, and you'll be working with your committee chairs on responsibilities within that. But again, let me remind you that if we don't read these things this summer, we will be drowning, because 7 applications in 2 days at a couple hundred pages apiece, and we miss things if we do that. So we really and truly have to make a plan to start on them over the summer.
And so we've also, as part of the training that OCS conducted with the evaluators, we made sure that evaluators were made aware to really look at these EMO agreements, look at those clauses, to kind of call out any of those clauses that have language that would be, considered, I guess, controversial. So they have been, oriented to actually review any type of EMO agreements or any type of contractual clauses. So that piece was done.
Which EMO is the one that that feels like they can't execute the agreement until they have an approved charter?
Let's see.
Educational management.
So education management resources, they would be new to the state. They also did provide their fund balances. We require their financial history. They did provide that. They've asked, though, that it's not distributed publicly, that it's just made available to your board. So we have that. But educational management resources, and I believe we don't have executed contracts from the ALA, Garner, or Monroe folks.
And that's the
Charter.
American traditional people?
No, we have executed contracts from ATA.
Okay.
And so the 20 applications, again, I think they've been divided evenly between committees. So Policy and Performance Committee both would have the 10 lead on those. Any other questions?
Not a question, just a comment. I'm sure the office has been doing this, but that the accelerated applicants know what acceleration means and what the rules are for acceleration. There is no delay for an acceleration.
Absolutely, they do. Mr. Machado has those applications. He's scheduling visits for the facility to make sure that the facilities are secured in advance. So yes, they're made aware.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Schaefer, we are now ready to talk about the charter agreement revisions.
Yes. Good morning, board members. We, from the legal department, are recommending some changes to the form charter agreement. Most
Can I
of them
get
are-
you to speak up a little bit,
I'm
Ms.
sorry, is
Schaefer?
this on?
Thank you.
Yes. We are recommending some changes to the form charter agreement, mostly technical changes to comply with legal requirements. Again, we'll just track the law and clarify some things. A couple of things that we also are concerned about is the hearing process, that if there's a closure of a school, we've had several closures recently, and the opportunity to go to the Office of Administrative Hearings was taken out of statute, so we need to revise that to allow an independent hearing officer opportunity for boards who are closing to be heard. And so those are the kind of technical changes that we are looking to make. We will bring that back before the board once we make those recommendations, but we just wanted to alert you that that was coming to you.
Just to confirm the process, it doesn't have to go to the Rules Review Commission, is that?
For the agreement is a contract, so
Okay.
no, it does not have to go before the Rules Review Commission. If we change board policy, that would go back
Okay.
before the Rules Review Commission.
Thank you. Okay, boy, we're moving right along. Okay, ready to open presentation, Ms. Porter.
Good morning, Chair Turner and members of the Charter School Advisory Board. Claire Porter with the Office of Charter Schools here for the Ready to Open report. So we, as you recall, you made a preliminary recommendation for the Ready to Open schools last month, and we're here today to make our final recommendations to the North Carolina State Board on which of the 2022 Ready to Open cohort schools will move forward to Ready to Open status. As a reminder, after today's presentation, motions can be that the school is recommended to move forward to Ready to Open, the school is not recommended to move forward to ready to open, or the school is recommended to move forward to ready to open with certain stipulations that you all place on the school. Just a bit of context for the planning year and the ready to open process. So consistent with North Carolina General Statute Section 115C-218.5 and Charter School Policy, so State Board Policy Number 13, as well as the NC Administrative Code Section 16, NCAC .06G.0509, the State Board of Ed grants initial approval to applicants for charters contingent on the successful completion of a planning year program. This means that each nonprofit board with an approved application must participate in the State Board adopted planning year program known as Ready to Open. The CSAB uses the report, which is the progress report we'll see here momentarily, as well as the guidelines, which Ms. Beccaro has put up, to make a determination as to whether the school is prepared to open. If a school is unable to meet the RTO requirements or standards stipulated in the charter agreement, the opening of the school could be postponed by 1 year or more, only 2, or if circumstances are serious enough, the school will not be recommended to move forward and will not receive its charter agreement. So joining us today as well are some individuals from the DPI EC division, as well as the Exceptional Children's division and school nutrition. So when we have questions regarding lunch or the EC program, those individuals are here. Out of the 13 schools who started in the 2022 cohort, we have 8 with us today. As you'll recall, North Raleigh Charter Academy of Wake County pulled out of the planning year process or relinquished, as well as Aspire Trade High School, formerly known as Huntersville High School, which is now in a delay year, North Oak Academy, formerly known as Oak Grove Charter, which is in a delay year, Dogwood Classical in Cabarrus, which is in a delay year, Bonnie Cone Leadership Academy of Mecklenburg, which is again in a delay year, and most recently, School of the Arts for Boys Academy, SABA, which was requested and was granted a delay. Several schools appearing before you are also NC Access sub-grant recipients. ALA Johnston, Central Carolina Academy, School of the Arts for Boys, the Math and Science Academy of Apex, and Wake Preparatory Academy. Attached in eBoard, you'll find the minimum decision-making guidelines before you. You'll find the RTO June progress report, the May-June enrollment summary, as well as each RTO school's evaluation rubric, budgets, and EC rubric. Several years ago, this body created these guidelines, and we'll just go through them again for everyone's clarity. This will help you determine which schools are ready to open or not. Enrollment must be at 75% of the projected year 1 ADM by June 1st. Per your facility, the school must have made substantial progress toward obtaining what we call an ECO, or an Educational Certificate of Occupancy, for use 30 days prior to the opening day, and must have in place a valid comprehensive contingency plan. Delay year schools may have a state board stipulation that these ECOs are in place by July 1st. They must have valid budgets reflecting both break-even and regular numbers by June 1st, and they should have no evidence checklist categories rated as insufficient. Just for purposes of what we're doing moving forward, your schools will be resubmitting by July 1st any areas of the rubric marked insufficient or emerging. So that will happen July 1st, prior to the state board's vote on these schools. If we could put up, Ms. Beccaro, the RTO progress report, and we can get started. I will ask if the Charter School Advisory Board wishes to move through in turn with each school and vote on each school, or how would you like to approach that?
We probably need to do each school because of the recusals.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we'll just begin alphabetically. We have ALA, or American Leadership Academy Johnston in Johnston County, year 1, K through 10.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if anybody's seeing the messages that we can't hear Ms. Porter.
CSAB members here? Ms. Porter?
That was,
We can't hear Ms. Porter.
that was Buller, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought that was one of them.
We haven't been able to hear Ms. Porter for the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Eric,
Yep.
can you hear anything going on in the boardroom?
I can. I was trying to message you individually, but no, I can't hear anything.
All right, let me just move. Is that better? Can you hear?
That was
Yes.
yeah. That's
Fabulous. I'll sit down, it's better anyway. We'll go back. We are visiting, starting with our first school, American Leadership Academy, Johnston. Their approved year 1 ADM is 1525. The school has no areas of insufficiency. They are greater than 75%, and in fact over 100% of their year 1 ADM, and they have a very robust waiting list. There are no areas of concern with ALA Johnston regarding required documentation, board governance. Their facility is new construction, and their ECO, or their Educational Certificate of Occupancy, is anticipated in the first week of August. Inspections will occur concurrently with that. Construction is on track to be completed timely, at least 2 weeks before the proposed day 1 of school. And their contingency plan is a delay to the start of the school year. Substantial completion for ALA Johnston should be by August 3rd, 2022. There are no issues with funding documentation. There are no issues with student accountability. Key staff at 75% identified for hired and 50% of teachers licensed. When RTO2 was submitted, they were about 68%, and that has been updated to over 75% of staff identified for hire. The beginning teacher support plan is in place. It has to receive final approval. And transportation reflects a budget line for the purchase of 4 buses for cluster stops in the first year with drop zones. DOT letter was provided. Evidence of purchase and inspection will be provided to the Office of Charter Schools. And the EMO has reached out to DPI's Transportation Division, so we have no concerns with transportation. I believe we have Miss Jackie McGowan on the line with us as well, but there were no concerns with lunch either. The school has reached out to begin the process of procuring an FSMC, which is a food service management company, and then they will provide evidence of codes and the selected vendor as soon as the contract is signed. Are there any questions for ALA Johnston from the Charter School Advisory Board?
Who follows up for the things that they still have to do? Like, I know that the ECO, that part gets, because you can't get in the building if you don't, but things like to make sure that the contract with the vendor for food is executed and that it provides for kids who need support and that kind of stuff. Who follows up with that?
So we will be following up in the Office of Charter Schools. That will come with the July 1st resubmissions. So if there were things that were marked emerging on the rubric, and there were some for each of our schools, they will have an opportunity to submit by July 1st. And at that point, we would expect executed contracts, no drafts, everything is identified. So that will be our office that follows up.
Any questions relative to ALA Johnston?
What is their first day of school?
First day of school is August 22nd, 2022.
And their building completion inspections are anticipated by mid-August?
Yes, ma'am. I believe substantial completion would be August 3rd, 2022, first week of August.
And what is their contingency?
Their contingency plan includes a delay to the start of the school year.
You said that they have provided an alternate calendar. How many weeks did they back up?
I believe that we heard 1 week, but ALA Johnston, if you are on the line or available, would you like to comment further on your contingency plan?
Yes, from what we heard from the building contractor, that it's on target to open shortly after the 1st of August. So I don't think we're going to need the contingent plan because everything is up to date. Construction is going well. Buildings are being built and the contractor says everything's ready to go. So I don't think we're going to need the late start because we're ready to go by August 22nd.
Any further questions, CSAB, for
When-
ALA Johnston?
When they finally get their ECO, let's say it's after August 1st, because they're not even anticipating to August 3rd, does that get updated at CSAB?
That will be updated. What our team does is we reach out to school business, to Ms. Roxanne Bernard, and we begin on July 1st with letting her know and her department know which schools have a CO. We don't send the CO to them, but we let them know that the CO is in hand. That allows them to do a funding drop. So they cannot get any funding until that TCO, so temporary,
Right.
or the permanent ECO is in place.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll update those all throughout the summer up until the point at which the school is ready to open.
Any other questions regarding ALA Johnston?
No, just commend them for outstanding enrollment success.
Yeah. Okay, well then can I get a motion on ALA Johnston?
I'll make a motion that we move ALA Johnson forward for opening.
I second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, can we take a roll call vote, please?
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Shelley Bowler,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Todd Gogby, Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, unanimous.
All right, our next school in alphabetical order is Central Carolina Academy Charter. Lee County, as Ms. Beccaro stated, they are amending or are looking at the National School Lunch Program, so we'll discuss that when we get to their lunch. They are an NC Access recipient. They use a weighted lottery with a 35% ED, or economically disadvantaged goal. Their opening date is September 7th of 2022. There are no concerns with enrollment. There are no areas of insufficiency. The school's year one ADM is 282, and they've surpassed that with an enrollment at last count of over 289. So they're at 100% of their year one projected ADM. The permanent facility will be at Douglas Drive in Sanford. We do not have an ECO for that location yet, but it is anticipated to be received between August 1st and September 1st. They have already acquired a temporary ECO for 2 contingency locations. The first one to serve students 6th through 8th grade at the Dennis Wicker Center, and the other location 9th through 10th grade at Christian Provisions. I believe we're in the process of getting the fire marshal's sign off on that contingency location. There is a delay in materials delivered. They're waiting on, if I remember correctly, a battery from China in order to actually get their ECO for their permanent location. So they have, they're moving along. They're making substantial progress with respect to the facility. There are no issues with funding documentation. There are no issues with student accountability. Their transportation plan will be to partner with an area bus company. I believe COLTS is the acronym, County of Lee Transit System. They will purchase new buses, and they will also look at purchasing used buses. And evidence of contact with the North Carolina Department of Transportation was provided by Central Carolina. So we have no problems with their transportation plan. Lunch is also sound, as you heard from Ms. Beccaro. They will contract with an LEA, a public elementary school. I believe it's J.S. Waters School in Goldston, North Carolina. They will serve lunch in partnership with the LEA, one of the LEA's elementary schools. They will be updating the food inspection report, and this is through Chatham County Schools, which will be catering again, pursuing the National School Lunch Program. So we have no issues of insufficiency with respect to any areas for Central Carolina.
Did you say that their enrollment's gonna be 280 kids for grades 6 through 10?
I have an ADM of 282.
For grades 6 through 10? It's not very many kids. Any questions regarding Central Carolina?
What was their projected ADM?
282, and they have 289, I think.
289.
Yeah, they're at 289.
Yeah, and I know that I believe Principal Batten is here as well as some other members from Central Carolina, if you have any particular questions directly for the school.
I guess I am interested in, with the 282 ADM for grades 6 through 10, grades 9 and 10, how many kids are you planning to have in high school?
Well, we speaking of,
That mic's not working, I have to go inside.
Speak loudly, I'm sorry.
and I also have Bill Haggis, our chairman of our board, but we purposefully opened with a target of 66 per grade level in middle. We were targeting 50 per grade level in high school with ultimately a growth plan of next year, and it's in our charter to increase to 100 per grade level in high school and 88 per grade level in middle school. So we had a purposeful, personalized learning plan to open. We do have a significant waiting list. We're getting calls regularly, but we did not want to expand that as we lay the foundation for our career and college promise, that we build that at the middle school level, and have a chance to partner with local businesses and some of the things we were looking at doing. But our enrollment has gone very well, and going early, I think we are looking good at meeting those targets for next year and beyond.
Any additional questions for Central Carolina CSAB members?
Can I get a motion then?
I move that Central Carolina Academy Charter move forward to ready to open.
I second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Vaquero?
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Bullard,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Todd Godby.
Aye.
I hear you this time, Todd.
Hey.
Eric Sanchez.
Now we lost Eric.
Aye.
All right. Great. It passes unanimously. Moving forward.
Great. Moving forward, we are with Movement Schools Southwest. So a K-1 in year one, they are in Mecklenburg County. Their year one approved ADM is 250. Their starting date is August 24th of 2022. This is new construction on the facility. They are, as of our last update here in May, enrollment is at 98% with 220 enrollments. So they're closing in very quickly to 100%. There were no areas of insufficiency on their rubric. No missing required documentation. The facility is new construction, as I said, and they do anticipate their educational certificate of occupancy by the end of July, so 7/31, once the building construction is complete. The renovation and construction schedule provided notes that everything is on schedule and the inspections would occur concurrent with the ECO, the receipt of the ECO. They do have a valid contingency plan in place. They have another property, Movement Middle School on Freedom Drive, and the attached Ophelia Garman Brown Center would be used as a vacant space in the event of a delay for Movement School Southwest. We have no funding. I'm sorry, was there a question? Oh, okay. We have no funding documentation questions, no student accountability questions. Their BTSP, or Beginning Teacher Support Plan, needs to be approved by the REF, the Regional Education Facilitator. A letter of assurance was provided by the Board of Movement Southwest, and that letter of assurance tells us that at least 50% of their teachers are on track to be licensed in year one. Transportation, we received information from North Carolina DOT, so they got a permit. Eagle Bus will be contracted to provide transportation for all students. The contract and inspection will be provided by July 1st, 2022, with the resubmissions that are due. The school was delayed in contacting the Department of DPI's Nutrition Division, so Jackie McGowan is on the phone, but because of the delay and because the school understood that it would not be able to partner and get an NSLP program up in time, it has contracted with 2 guys and a kitchen. It has provided a signed contract, a signed inspection report, and a very robust school lunch plan, so that nutrition is not an impediment to any student who would wish to attend the school. Their handbook needs to be put in final form, but again, that's something that's emerging. As with many schools, we have no other areas of concern or insufficiency with Movement School Southwest.
I think that's great news. It looks like they've grown their enrollment about 30%
Yes,
since
ma'am.
last month.
Marketing,
So,
canvassing,
Yeah, they've worked
lots of
hard.
work.
And I think they've indicated through their other facilities that they will provide the robust lunch program that they're planning.
Are there any questions that board members have regarding this application? Sounds like this is one, though, that we probably have there are some things that are missing that we would want to, if we were to move them forward, stipulate that we have those on file, or Office of Charges have those on file by the end of this month, correct?
Yes, sir. As with all of the schools, there are some things, for example, we've marked some schools emerging because, for example, the handbook may not have been finally approved by the board, or there may be a contract that's a draft that hasn't been executed. So all of those things would be for each of our RTO schools, something that we would ask them to submit by July 1st.
But this is one, we don't even have the EMO agreement, correct?
The ECO, sir?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, yes. It is expected by 7/31/2022, so it is on track for construction and to be in receipt of that ECO like the other schools here today.
Okay, thank you.
And the contingency is another of their locations?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
So if we make a motion, we want to spell those things out specifically in the motion.
For each school, if you would like to place specific stipulations on the school, yes, you may do so, or you may move the school forward with the understanding that all of the schools will be resubmitting by July 1st.
Okay.
So the motion could be that all schools will satisfy any outstanding requirements by July 1st.
Got it, thank you.
Any further questions for Movement School Southwest?
Hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I want to say this right, that we move Movement Schools Southwest pending that, I guess everything is resolved by the July deadline.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion that Movement School be moved forward pending that they've satisfied any outstanding items. So by July 2nd?
Sure.
Is that what I heard the motion was?
July 1st or
July
2nd?
1st.
Yeah, July 1st, I think.
And then we have a second. Any discussion?
We didn't add that clarification to the previous motions for the first two schools who are in a similar situation.
You did not.
Is it implied or is it not?
Because I would have that same requirement.
all of our, there's only one school here before you today that has an ECO for its permanent facility, and another school here who has a temporary CO for its contingency. So none of the schools have their permanent ECO save for Oak Hill Charter School. So if that motion is made for one, it probably might be made for all of them, but I defer to CSAB's guidance on that.
But I don't know that everyone by July 1st is gonna be able to get their permanent ECO by July 1st.
They just resubmit.
So and that's why there's a contingency plan. Right, I mean, if the contingency plan works, then do you need to, you have to have a permanent ECO, right?
Yeah.
You usually only do stipulations in the motion when there's an insufficiency on the RTO rubric, so that you make it very clear to the school that that insufficiency needs to be resolved. And in this case, these schools so far have not had any insufficiencies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion's been made, it's been seconded, so I think we have to vote on that motion. So I think we'd probably, if you're correct me if I'm wrong, if you're supporting this school moving forward, we'd be voting no on this first motion, and then
Were there missing documents, or were there things that were missing from the applicant? Then yeah, I mean,
or we just withdraw the motion, Mr. Sanchez.
I withdraw it.
Eric.
You see that?
Eric, you
I withdraw the motion. And then the real motion should just be that they're moving forward and the process will take care of itself. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, they move forward and ready to open.
and I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, Ashley?
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Bullard,
Aye.
Todd Godby, Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, that one passes.
Our next school is Oak Hill Charter School, opening in Caldwell County, year 1, K through 7. Enrollment is over 75% of their projected year 1 ADM. They recently were approved to amend their year 1 ADM to 216. And from 192 to 216, they increased that projected ADM, and that was approved, and they are enrolled with a waiting list. This school had no areas of insufficiency on their rubric. They are not an NC access school. As I just mentioned, Oak Hill has educational certificates of occupancy in hand for all 3 of its buildings. So this allows for multiple contingency plans over 45,000 square feet of various buildings that they have. We have not received the health inspection. They did submit a note that the inspector is backed up several months, so we would of course expect that, like with any other school, prior to the first day of school opening. The fire marshal has already approved all 3 buildings for occupancy. Again, it's not new construction. There have been no issues with funding documentation, no issues with student accountability. Key staff is in place. They, like many other schools, will need to get their final approval for their beginning teacher support plan. The school transportation plan, they have reached out to NCDPI and have begun to put into place a plan to purchase buses from the sale website. We don't have an evidence of a contract to purchase yet, but they will be providing that. And we would ask them to submit, further detail in July about cluster stops, vendor contracts, and how they will determine eligibility for transportation. For lunch, the school has a contract to work with Richter Catering, has provided an inspection report, and we're waiting on the signed final contract. We do have a draft contract with that caterer. Everything is in place there. And we had no other areas of insufficiency for Oak Hill.
Any questions regarding Oak Hill? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we move Oak Hill forward to ready to open.
I second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Huddle Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Bullard,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Todd Godby, Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, passes.
Our next school is Revitalize Charter School. This was an accelerated application intended to be in Wake County, year one, K2, with an ADM, as you'll recall, of 216. Last month, and then the month prior, CSAB denied a reduction in this school's ADM, and more recently, they denied the request of Revitalize for a delay year, noting that this is not an option available to acceleration schools. So there were several areas of insufficiency on the rubric. The first was enrollment. Enrollment came in at 37% from the last report. In terms of required documentation, we are missing a certificate of liability insurance, namely because there is no secured facility. Funding documentation, we did not have a budget, regular or break-even submitted. No evidence of an LGC-approved CPA firm, no evidence of a SAM or DUNS number, and no student chart submitted, which is understandable given that their enrollment was such. They did, I believe, reach out fairly recently to families of enrolled students, letting them know that they would not be opening this year. And other areas of insufficiency were student accountability, key staff, understandably. The lunch program, they had reached out to Jackie McGowan at DPI, National School Lunch Program, but there was no actual plan or program submitted during the RTO process by Revitalize Charter School.
I want to make sure I understand what you just said. They've already told their families of the 37% of kids that they have enrolled that they're not planning to open. Why are we still talking about them?
I believe the motion that was made at that meeting was a motion to deny the school's request for a delay year, but there has been no formal motion or request by the school to pull out of the ready-to-open process. So
Has there been a formal request for the delay year?
They have made that request twice, and you've denied it twice because they're an accelerated application.
Yes, ma'am.
But at the same time, as Ms. Porter just said, we need to make a final RTO recommendation whether they move forward or not.
So do we not, are there representatives for Revitalize here today?
I believe Ms. Caceres and Dr. Church-Williams, are you on the line?
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
my,
there are.
my question is, before we vote, you've already told parents you're not gonna open this year, so is it do you want to request the CSAB this morning that your charter be not move forward?
Oh, that is what we anticipated today, unfortunately, yes.
That's what you anticipate, but do you want to make a formal request that it not be moved forward?
What would be the impact of us saying, yes versus no? Wouldn't the vote still just be a denial anyway?
I can't speak on how my other CSAB members are going to vote, so it could be a denial, yes. If you request for us to pull it, then we would be voting on your request to pull the application at this time versus just flat out denying it. It may be semantics, it may be optics.
Okay. Okay, so then we'll pull it. We plan to apply next cycle.
Okay, I think that's probably a good move.
Yes.
So can I get a motion to accept their request to withdraw the application?
Madam Chair, I move that we honor their request, revitalize charter school to pull its application.
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think that is a good decision on your part, rather than to have it denied. to withdraw of your own and then reapply, I think is probably a really good move on your part.
I just recall that they really had a strong application to
Yeah.
reach a needy population, using the pedagogy of the oppressed, and they've done a lot of work, so I encourage them to move forward in the coming years, and let's make this happen.
Right, and work diligently on your enrollment. Because when they came before us before, they revitalized me. They really did, with their confidence and their vision.
Thank you, CSAP.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bakiro?
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
I
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Bullard,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Todd Godby,
Aye.
Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, that has been
And I
withdrawn.
want to thank Mr. Friend for bringing that up as an option, because I think that's a much better option than what we were working with initially.
Much more honor involved.
Yeah. Okay, who's next?
Our next school is School of the Arts for Boys Academy, otherwise known as SABA. And of course, this school has requested a delay year and has been granted a delay year. So I don't know if we need to make a further motion here. Nope. All right, let's move on. Our next school is the Math and Science Academy of Apex. They are opening in Wake County on August 8th, 2022. Like most of our schools, their ECO has not yet been received. This is new construction. It is on track for completion by July 22nd. And again, the school is set to open August 8th. Their contingency plan is modulars, and their inspections would coincide with their ECO receipt. They are at and above capacity. Their ADM for year one is 600. They're above that at this point with a waiting list. TMSA Apex is an NC Access school, and the required documentation is in place. We are waiting on board governance strengthening exercises, which could be submitted July 1st. Their funding documentation is in place with a break even of 590 and a regular budget of 600. An LEA chart was recently provided showing from whence their students would be drawn. Key staff is progressing. We did not get a letter of insurance from their board stating that they would have 50% of their teachers licensed by 12/31, but they are making progress, and that can be resubmitted in July. Licensure plan has been submitted. Their beginning teacher support plan, like most other schools, still needs to be approved finally by the regional education facilitator. Their lunch plan is making progress, but they will need to flesh it out more. They did make contact with DPI School Nutrition, but we don't have much evidence of the lunch plan other than one that was submitted for another campus, TMSA Cary. The policy that was provided for lunch was a general policy from 2015 and stated that students may purchase a nutritional lunch through the school's caterer or bring their lunch from home. So we would like to see a little bit more in terms of a robust lunch plan. The transportation plan was rated insufficient. We didn't have, what was put in the narrative was there is another agency that we deal with, specifically. We have an alternative vendor listed below. These matters are handled directly through them. So a lot of this, again, the carpool plan came from a different campus, the Cary campus, and it's not specific to the Apex campus. And they did provide evidence of contracting with the local DOT for traffic support. So that was in place. We would like to see more specificity with the transportation plan. We would like to know how families are made aware of transportation, and if they are charging a fee to the families, either directly or indirectly, as well as how the school would sustain transportation after the NC Access grant is done. We also had an EC rating that was insufficient. So the EC division rates schools, some of the areas can be insufficient, but TMSA had enough of its EC policies to be rated as overall insufficient. So those are the two areas of real insufficiency, EC and transportation. And I do believe we have Ms. Michelle Ham.
And lunch is up for discussion.
And lunch is up for discussion. Lunch is emerging, but lunch is up for discussion.
I have a question for NC Access. The transportation plan, part of receiving funds for NC Access is that you must have a transportation plan that provides access. The transportation plan that's been presented here doesn't exactly sound like that meets that requirement. So where are they with NC Access?
So I think we would similarly require additional evidences. Whatever the requirements that you all put forward for RTO to move forward as a school, obviously the continuation or approval of any funding from us is contingent on both a lunch program and a transportation program that remove barriers for all students. So we would similarly require.
Do you recall what they put in the access plan when it was submitted?
I believe there was contracted bus services, which sounds similar to what they're proposing in RTO. Yeah. We would need additional detail about, I think, the sustainability, which Ms. Porter mentioned, as well as some of the...
And that has not actually been contracted to date, right?
We did not see evidence of an actual contract. We saw a narrative that did mention that they were going to, and I know we have members of TMSA here today to help give us more clarity on this. We were told that they would be using an alternative vendor, and so they did list the alternative vendor. So they had, shown that they will do this, but there was nothing else in place. So as of today, we don't have a contract.
I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. TMSA, we just went through this whole thing. They're going to get it so that they would have a central office and the whole 9 yards, and which was supposed to make it work better. And now you're a month from ready to open, and your transportation plan is insufficient. Your EC plan is insufficient. I'm a little disappointed in this. Seriously disappointed in this. Is not what I would have expected from TMSA at all.
The school is definitely emerging. I know that with the EC division, they are ready and willing to work with the schools immediately to get those policies resubmitted and up to snuff so that insufficient could be removed.
But don't they already have existing schools?
Yes, ma'am.
So why should writing your EC policy be difficult if you're already implementing EC?
Would you like to hear from?
Yeah, I think that would be a really good idea.
It's concerning.
Yeah. Would you like to hear from TMSA first, or would you like to hear from Ms. Michelle Ham from the EC division?
Let's hear what the issues are with the EC division first, and then let's hear what TMSA has to say.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Sorry, Michelle.
Hello, my name is Michelle Ham. I'm a regional coordinator for charter schools in the Northeast, Southeastern, Sandhills regions. I did have an opportunity to review the material that was submitted by this particular charter and noticed that there was just documentation completely missing, or there was information that did not adequately address certain areas of policy. One of those areas happened to be the discipline around students with disabilities. I was specifically looking for information that related to how to handle things on a case-by-case situation for students with disabilities, as well as the manifestation determination review process. That was one area with a policy that I noticed that was missing. Another area was the accountability piece, and in that particular situation, I was looking for a process to ensure that all students were advancing from grade to grade. I was also looking for mention around the testing, the end of grade, end of course evaluation, as well as the extend for our students who were on the extend content standards. Did not see anything that was connected to maintenance of effort, and wanted to see additional information around child fine expectations for children who may move a lot back and forth. There was not a tracking system in place for when students enrolled, which would also support that child find piece. I was looking for additional information around accommodations, testing accommodations for students with disabilities, how that would be shared, and how staff would be trained. So those were a few of those areas that I noted that I just couldn't find. Just as Claire mentioned, we in Exceptional Children's Department are always very poised and ready for anyone that wants to collaborate with us and just have additional conversation on how we might be supportive to help folks, get back on track and have the information that we need to be able to move from insufficient toward emerging and ultimately quality.
Thank you. All right, TMSA, maybe you'd like to talk to us about this.
Is it working?
No.
I think we had problems with that. Maybe
All right.
Mr. Machado's, yeah. Thanks.
Good morning. Board
Good
members.
morning.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that too, because we have 3,000 students and we've been serving those for 14 years. And we have desk reviews, we have all in compliance and everything is in place. I gotta go back and check, what is missing in that, if it is improvement. And what brought before me, the old policies, 2015, we have one board and the same policies. Now we're gonna be bringing a blanket, all those policies are gonna be, the effective for TMSA Apex 2 in June 20th board meeting, or whatever the deficiencies are, or it is not, they're presented in a way or not, because we've been getting these 060 funds, we are in compliance and we are serving, and all those, the set things, the child find, manifestation determination, everything is in place. And then we have a department, the EAC certified, the department chair oversees all 4 campuses, and we have department heads at the buildings, and I'm surprised, like yourself, Madam Chair.
I think what could have happened, because this has happened to us over time, because we've just been around a really long time, what was acceptable written documentation 10 years ago is no longer acceptable written documentation, and it may just be that you need to write up what you actually do and not rely on the policies you already have written, but update them to reflect what you're actually doing to meet the requirements. Because I don't understand.
Yeah, actually, this is in the we said, let's get the chance to, ready to open new checklist, and then we are in the process of revising all our policies, our governance committee, the policies are coming, the first reading, second reading, and we will have the admin retreat in the middle of July, and in the board retreat in the first week of August, all the policies are gonna be, brought back to the CSAP here for approval. But,
The ones that are insufficient in RTO have to be in good shape by July 1.
No, yeah, it is the June 20th, everything is gonna be fixed, and then this is, whatever the deficiency is over there, we will fix it and then present it in a visible way.
Yeah, I also would encourage you to make sure that you're meeting the requirements of NC Access in terms of lunch and transportation. Those are major requirements of NC Access, and need to be very, very clear that no students are missing out on opportunities based on your policies.
Of course.
Can you talk a little bit about your facility?
That they may go to modulars.
Modulars is a contingency, which, talk to us a little bit about that.
We have, actually, we will have modulars in place for 8 classrooms for high schoolers. And then, we will be adding more modulars if needed. The facility is, we do not expect, the delay, but, if there's delay, we can delay the school 1 or 2 weeks,
Are the modulars on site right now?
Modulars are, they're coming to the site, it's the city of Apex just approved the plan, and then it's being contracted, and then they're gonna be ready by the second week of July.
And how many acres? How many acres will your modulars be placed?
I mean, it's in a 27-acre land. It's probably gonna be, the 5-acre. And, the phase 2 of the campus is the construction is gonna start in September. The phase 1 is gonna be finishing now.
Okay, now the 8 modules you're talking about, those you had planned on doing anyway. Those aren't part of the
Yes,
contingency.
yes.
That's part.
Yeah, but we already, they communicated with the company, and then they are ready to put another 16 classrooms.
If you need them.
And how many classrooms per modular?
It is 8 classroom, it's connected, they have 2, the restroom, 2 restrooms, and then the 8 classrooms.
8, okay. Thanks.
Any other questions for TMSA? Thank you. This is one that has to go with stipulations because of the insufficiencies. So why am I drawing a blank on this word?
Outstanding,
The thing you do when you want people to do, when you want to say something's okay.
Comments?
Can't think of the word, it's like gone. Oh, well, it's just gone. At any rate, a motion, that's the word I was looking for. Any motion would have to include stipulations around the insufficiencies that Ms. Porter has described.
and they need to be, those stipulations, or they need to be submitted by what date?
July 1, everything has to be in by July 1.
All schools are resubmitting by July 1, and I think that if the very welcoming EC division were to work with the school within the next 2 weeks, those policies could definitely come up to quality or emerging rather quickly. For the transportation insufficiency, I think if we were to require a contract and submission of a transportation plan that is well-defined, that would probably bring it up to emerging or quality by July 1. I have no concerns that the school could do that, if you will allow Mr. Carter. Yeah.
Well,
Good morning. For the transportation, just I want to make a clarification. We are using the same vendor with our existing schools. Our 2 schools are only 9 miles away, so they already have like 5 roads, and we are adding 3 more roads. Total, there is going to be like 8 roads, and we already contracted with the company, carrier company. So it's done deal actually.
Yeah, we just need documentation.
Needs to be uploaded.
Yes, it just needs to be documented.
And a plan that's specific to Apex and not Cary, so.
Yeah, so what it sounds like to me is you're expanding on the Cary one, but you have to have one that's specific to Apex, that it may be an extension of the Cary one, but it can't be the Cary plan.
Their transportation plan to meet the RTO requirements, once they get what Ms. Porter's describing, will be fine. Then we have their requirements for being in the NC Access program, and that's a little bit more robust, and there'll be no funding dispersed until they have.
But that doesn't affect their ability to open.
That's two different things, but we wanted to make sure that any NC Access school, you were aware of what their transportation plan, just to reiterate the need for that. But they have not been, received any funding at this point, and they will not receive any until NC Access team approves that transportation plan. Okay, so there's
Sounds to me a lot of
2
this
plans.
is just about policy writing and getting it done by July 1.
So question, have the other schools that we move forward met this criteria?
Well, they haven't been insufficient. Some of them have been emerging. They're insufficient.
They have their EC support, they have their structure
Yeah.
in place, their testing, their accommodations.
Yeah.
And this school that's sort of replicating, or at least developing a system of schools, is insufficient
That's correct.
at this date, and they're opening relatively early compared to some of the other opening dates.
That's true.
So it is concerning, and they have full enrollment and a wait list of over 1,400, so that's pretty incredible that they have that kind of community demand and support, yet you think their preparation would be over the top. So it's a little bit of an anomaly to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that sometimes when you're in a replication that you think people know things that you're doing that you don't clearly communicate, and I have a feeling that most of this is gonna be a matter of submitting and not assuming people understand what you're gonna do.
I hope that's what it is. I have to say, particularly given the whole thing with the consolidation and all that stuff, it's concerning to me then that as you're getting ready to open a new school, we're seeing insufficiencies in the one school that has this whole new plan that we just said was so wonderful, and that was going to be a better way of running schools, and then they're the school that doesn't have all their ducks in a row, and that's extremely concerning to me. I do not think that it is insurmountable. I don't think it's even a big deal. I think it's a matter of sitting down and writing policies, but it does have to happen.
I'll make a motion that we move them forward on the condition that all outstanding insufficiencies are appropriately addressed by July 1st.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Do we need to spell out those requirements?
No, I think we,
Such as AC,
I think
that'll be
because we said the
absolutely clear.
insufficiencies, and those were the areas where they were insufficient, so I think that covers it. Okay, Ashley.
6347.
Terry Stoops,
Aye.
John Eldridge,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Approves.
Shelley Bullard,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Todd Gogny,
Yes.
Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. I would say this to TMSA, as a board, we went to the state board and highly supported your plan, even touting it as a possible better way to run schools that have more schools under a multiple board. Please don't make us look like we lost our minds.
Our last school, but certainly not least, is Wake Preparatory Academy, slated to open August 16th, 2022. They are in Franklin County. Wake Prep is in a 2-year delay and was placed under a stipulation from the North Carolina State Board of Education, as they do with all delay schools, to have their educational certificate of occupancy in place by July 1st, 2022. That is the only reason they are here to visit with you today. They had no areas of insufficiency. Their year one ADM is 1620, so 1,620, and they have surpassed that goal plus a very robust wait list. They have all their required documentation. They have submitted all of their board governance exercises. The school facility is new construction, and the ECO should be in place by July 16th. As I mentioned, the school start date is August 16th. We do have uploaded an affidavit from their construction company, and I believe that's on eBoard as well, if you would like to look at that. We do have a signed lease. We do have a contingency plan, which is a 2-week delay in the event there is anything that transpires. Funding documentation clear, student accountability clear, key staff is now over 84%. Their BTSP plan, like all other schools, is awaiting approval by the regional education facilitator, and their transportation is clear. They are going to purchase buses. They will have cluster stops based on survey needs. We do have information from the North Carolina Department of Transportation. We also have information from Phil Laughlin at Carolina Thomas on the purchase of new buses and Kavanaugh buses for used buses. So we have no concerns there. For lunch, they have been marked quality. They will operate as a school food authority. The approved families will be provided benefits within 10 days of submitting their documentation. So we have no concerns with their lunch program at this point either.
The July 1 stipulation, that's a state board stipulation, isn't
Yes,
it?
for delay year schools, that is a state board stipulation, and again, that is why Wake Prep is here to discuss with you the status of the receipt of the ECO and the construction.
So what options do we, like, they made it very clear, they're not gonna be there by July 1, they're gonna get there July 16. So what options do we have?
This is really just a required update, so you know where they are, so they understand the importance of it as we do, way to monitor. It's not a, we're not gonna approve.
Not so hard and fast thing.
No, it's just an update, so everybody knows where the school is, and we all feel comfortable that it will open on time.
Yeah, and we do have that affidavit from the construction company on e-board as well.
And so question, the affidavit says completed by August the 9th, so that's an acceptable date with the 16th opening, and that satisfies the July 1st requirement because they have that affidavit.
This is very common for any of our schools that are in construction over the last 10 years, that construction never goes like you want it. And we just want to, the purpose of this policy is for us to make sure that it stays in front of us until they do open. If the school is not anywhere near the process that it can open, we would bring that to your attention.
Do we have any representatives? I know we do.
Yes,
Do they
we
want
do
to
have
comment on
representatives from the school and the EMO charter one here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Kyle Schroeder, Board Vice President for Wake Prep. Happy to answer any questions. Just by way of summary for the facility questions, because I know it's on everyone's mind. So, you know, by the state board requirement, they had asked us to provide a signed affidavit on July 1st if we were not anticipated being, you know, the educational certificate of occupancy by then. So we asked our construction facility provider to provide that with you guys today early. We will get an updated letter on July 1st for you. State Board also has asked us to provide you OCS with weekly updates as we progress through that construction process. And just for reference, it is not necessarily considered new construction. This was an existing building, so this is simply renovations. There was already a certificate of occupancy for that facility. In fact, part of the building still maintains a certificate of occupancy. So these renovations, as it stands now, are more or less the finishing touches, paint, drywall, things that have to happen for kids to walk through the building safely, those types of things. So yeah, I'm happy to answer additional questions if the board has any.
And if they're not finished painting and putting up walls by the time August 16th comes, your plan is?
Yeah, so we did submit a contingency facility plan, which was reviewed with the RTO process and accepted. It is a 1 or 2 week delay based on the need. We are in our school, so we have a little bit more flexibility to execute on that plan. And again, I would like to say that we are very confident and that we're going to actually hit that date, if not sooner than that date, as provided in the affidavit.
Well, your checklist looks great in every other way.
Thank you.
I know you have a few staff left to hire, but your quality on the checklist.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we move Wake Prep forward to ready to open status.
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Terry Stoops.
Aye.
John Eldridge.
Aye.
Bruce Friend.
Aye.
Rita Hare.
Aye.
Shelley Bullard.
Aye.
Cheryl Turner.
Aye.
Todd Godby.
Aye.
Eric Sanchez.
Aye.
All right, moves forward.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. That was a very, very well done report. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I tried to condense it from our last experience.
Perfect student she is.
Okay, so now we get to hear from the Aspiring Minority School Leaders Program.
Let's see if they fix the mic.
Oh,
Yeah, this better?
Good morning, CSAP, OCS staff, and visitors. Today we are here, I'm Barbara O'Neill from the NC Access Program. Today we are here to recognize the accomplishments of some amazing people. And I'm usually not an emotional person, but I'm just so excited that, about this program and what happened over the past couple of years. 3 years ago, former chair, CSAP chair, Alice Quigley made a comment in a CSAP meeting that we needed to develop a cohort of minority leaders prepared for leadership roles in charter schools. Since the NC Access program had just started, Jay and I thought, what a great project to add to our agenda. With my experience in higher education, I reached out to App State program director. I knew her through being a professional colleague. We arranged the program. It was going to be something new for them also, to have a whole cohort of charter school people in their class, but we made it work. We started with 20 and ended with 12 dedicated people who persevered and finished the program. Today, we would like to recognize them. And we have been sending them job openings. But first, I want you to hear just briefly from the program coordinator and the faculty at App State who came to join us today about their challenges in the program. Let's come on up. Everybody get to say something.
Good morning. My name is Precious Mudiwa, and I've got my colleagues with me, Dr. William Gamason, if you could stand, please. And I've got my colleague, Dr. Kimberly Money. I just want to say thank you so very much, DPI, and my colleague, Dr. Barbara O'Neill. I've been at Appalachian for 15 years, and this is the first time we have seen our cohort being represented by minorities. So I can't thank you enough, because this increased our program outcomes. Because at Appalachian, as you know, we don't have a lot of racial diversity. So for the very first time in our programs, we saw a substantial increase. I would say substantial for us, because we'd never seen such a high number of minorities. So this was so very important for, number one, opening and increasing our student outcomes. Number two, I want to believe there is a lot of educational value when you have racial diversity in our classrooms. So we saw that by what our students were bringing in, what they were sharing in our classrooms. So I want to believe there was a lot of broadening of experiences and enriching our learning in our classrooms. So I just want to thank these wonderful students for working so very hard during COVID, very difficult times, extenuating times that they'd never seen, but they did excellent work. And I want to thank Dr. Gamason and Dr. Mani, who primarily worked with the students. I didn't, but they did they did the bulk of the work, and I want to thank them very much. And I want to thank you so very much for believing in us. I don't know why we chose Appalachian State, but here we are, and we are so very excited. So I hope this is the beginning of an enduring relationship between DPI and Appalachian State, and I hope we are going to be sending some more students our way. So we are looking for a second or third cohort from DPI. So I just want to say thank you so very much for giving us this beautiful audience. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, before they come up and Ms. Turner, you present them with certificate, and we have the pictures and all. I want each of the students to just come to the mic, give your name. Let us know if you've already gotten a job. A few of them have already gotten a job from this, and or what school you're at, okay? Just get in line right here and come on. Oh, my mom.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Hines. I'm the Dean of Student Services, and I'm currently employed at Sally B. Howard School for the Arts and Science in Wilson, North Carolina.
Hello, I'm Sam Villegas, and I am the new middle school director at Kestrel Heights Charter School.
Hello, I am Nikita Maddox Covington. I started my journey at Carolina International School, and I have not yet found anything in admin, but I'm ready.
Good morning, Denise Palmer. I'm presently at Healthy Start Academy. I'm an instructional coach, and yes, I do have a job. Thank you.
My name is Rock McCabe. I started at Falls Lake Academy Charter School, and currently I'm like Nikita. I'm looking for opportunities.
Hi, my name is DeQuanda Haley. I am the assistant head of Scottsdale Secondary School in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Good morning. I'm LeVar Wynn. I'm currently at Mountain Island Charter High School, and I'm currently filling offers as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Sean Ravain. I'm currently at IC Imagine. I am the upper school principal. I started that this past school year. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sherelle MacArthur in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I am at the Art Space Charter School, and I have secured my admin position.
Hello, everyone. My name is Denise Murray, and I'm presently looking at right now, but I have to tell you, I really enjoyed the learning experience at Appalachian State. Thank you, Professor Boudoir and Professor Gummerson. I work closely with them. Thank you for the program and the opportunity.
So they can tell you, I sent several emails and I said, if ever there's an in-person meeting that you don't want to miss, it's this one, because it's live. Everybody's going to hear you, and people are going to send me emails about you. But I have been sending them your jobs. If you do have administrative jobs, let me know. And I'm not trying to take them away from any of the current schools. Okay, so you're going to go up and get your certificate. But I want to ask the CSAP members and the OC staff to join us for lunch in room 150 downstairs. They're going to be there for lunch, and there's no formal program. Just come eat, maybe, have a few words with everybody if you like, but, special lunch with tablecloths, okay? So, next I'm going to have Jay. Yes.
Mr. Friend would like
Mr.
to
Friend.
Well, I just did, if there was a time for any of us that wanted to comment.
To just comment, yeah.
How
Okay.
awesome this is. Congratulations. I'm not an App State grad, but I'm App State dad. With a senior there this year. And just outstanding work. So congratulations to everyone.
Right. And one of the reasons their program was online, we couldn't interrupt their work schedule. It was just a lot of things about your program that just met all of their needs. And I appreciate that. And we want to send you more, but right now with the add-on being in, but I have come up with a solution. Okay, so the next I'm going to have Jay say a couple words, and then they'll come up, get the certificate, and take pictures, okay?
So I just wanted to take a couple minutes to express some gratitude for everyone that was involved in this. And the first is obviously Dr. O'Neill. When this conversation initially started, I think it was in June of 2020, Barbara came up with this idea immediately. And I like to think I'm deliberate. I know that is also a word for slow in my processing and putting things together. But Barbara put this entire thing together in just a couple months and really just a couple weeks in terms of the partnership with Appalachian State, the recruitment of our leaders, getting all the coursework and the requirements together, and getting this really started, even getting the payments, like all of the behind the scenes work that happened in such a short period of time. I'm just immensely grateful for Barbara's work in putting all that together. And then also for our partnership with App State. Appreciate you guys taking this leap with us, being on this journey with us, and sort of allowing us to have this opportunity and try this out, and hopefully this can become a partnership that is more lasting and maybe just a model that becomes more lasting across the state. And then finally, I just want to thank our leaders that went through this program. As you all know, I think as everyone in this room knows, being a teacher, being an administrator, being in a school is an extremely rewarding but also exhausting and tiring and all-consuming job. And then I think even in the last 2 years of the pandemic, it became an even more difficult thing to balance with your life, with all your other responsibilities, and just the the immense challenge that COVID presented, and then to take this journey and to take on this additional responsibility and these additional requirements, the coursework, the additional time, in addition to your own personal lives, to your work, and to everything else going on. I'm just extremely grateful for your leadership in your schools, the dedication and commitment you've given to us, and what this is going to mean for the sector. You know, we always talk about access as part of the access program, getting kids into schools, and some of, even from the firsthand conversations, specifically even with Sean recently at IC Imagine, the way that our leaders are thinking about what the next step is. You know, once kids get into school, that's step one, but what it means to serve those kids, and having leaders like this in those positions, in positions of leadership and administration, I think is going to make a world of difference for a lot of students across the state. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was involved behind the scenes, and particularly to our leaders for the dedication and time that you've given us for this.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, thank you. All right, y'all not leave me up here by myself taking pictures. Dave, come on, y'all.
I'll take the picture.
No, everybody.
You gotta take it out.
Yeah, right. Okay, and I could really mess up my name, so I do, I'm so sorry. Melissa Close. Okay. So Wanda Haley. Kimberly Hines. Nikita Maddox Covington.
You saw the talk.
Denise Murray. Denise Palmer. Okay, I'm going this one. Sean Vervain. Samantha Villegas. Process of elimination. Lamar West. You guys want to come back up this way? Yeah, we put them in the front. These are my people. These are my people. Little people are my people.
Great job.
Got it?
I like
like that.
Perfect, thank you.
So we'll see you all downstairs. To everybody, go downstairs to room 150. It's right there where you came in, and it's a big room. It should have tablecloths and ready. And thank you so much.
We still have Dave's update before we adjourn, but then we will join you.
Okay.
Although I don't know if we're gonna let Dave go. Okay, so right there. All right, next on the agenda is the director's update. I'm not sure I'm allowing that today.
Okay. Quickly, as far as State Board of Ed updates, State Board of Ed did approve the relinquish of Learning Center's charter effective June 30th. They approved Greenville Prep's move to ready to open status. State Board did withdraw the Wayne STEM application, and we are working with the application and legal to try to get back on State Board of Ed's agenda in July. They approved the charter school annual report, approved TMSA's request to merge their schools and have a central office in their new mission statement. Old Mainstream Academy's request for a weighted lottery. The motion did state that State Board wanted the goal to be 45% instead of 35%, and that was passed. They approved Oak Hill Charter School's request to increase its enrollment by 24 students. They did approve North Oak Academy's request for a second-year delay, and they did approve your recommendation to deny Revitalize Charter's request for an enrollment decrease. They discussed Shining Rock Classical Academy's request to amend its mission statement, and the charter school RTO preliminary recommendations were made, and obviously after today, we will make their final recommendations. OCS, this is a new Leader Charter Institute that's going on this week for all schools that are going to be opening up in August, or any school that has a new leader that'd like to participate. You just saw an unbelievable presentation about the Inspiring Minority School Leaders Program. Can't say enough of all the work that NC Access team, and particularly Dr. O'Neill, has done with that program. NC Access Fellows Institute will have another session this month. We've conducted 2 bond hearings since the last CSAB meeting, and I'm happy to report that we have completed the 40 virtual renewal visits that our office had to do 40. So you will be addressing 40 renewal schools next year. So I did have the honor of attending the Principal of the Year banquet with Ms. Mills. She's representing the charter school community beautifully. It was a really great event, and I really thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Today is Davita Robinson's birthday, so if you see Davita, I don't think she's in the audience, but today is her birthday. And this is my last CSAB meeting.
Wait a minute,
I am
we need a
leaving
motion on
Office of
that.
Charter School at the end of the month. Very happy to announce, if you haven't already heard it, Superintendent Truitt is named Ashley as interim director.
Congrats, Ashley.
Ashley has absolutely earned to do that. And it's very obvious from the people that presented in our office just how talented Office of Charter School is. We have some
great people that work. Some get a little more exposure than others. Some might get a little too much exposure. It might get stolen from us, but the last 6 years has absolutely been an honor for me to serve in this role. I think because of this, I'm better prepared for the new assignment. I couldn't believe that I left a school setting to come here. And then once I got here, I realized, boy, that was the right decision, and I can't believe I'm leaving this setting for another opportunity, but I know that that is what God's putting in front of me for a reason, and I'm really excited about that. But the best part of this position, I don't want to call it a job, is the interaction I've had with my colleagues in the office and my interactions I've had with the Charter School Advisory Board. I admire what you do, I respect what you do, and the fact that I've got to know you on a very professional and personal basis has just really been one of the highlights. So thank you for putting up with me, and I just consider you all very good friends, professional friends, and just thank you for your support.
And we have your phone number.
Yes. He will be back. We'll be back.
We do have a vacancy.
I know.
We have a couple of them, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, with that very uplifting news, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I move with no further business that we adjourn.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, you want to raise your hand? Okay.
Yeah, there'll be lunch downstairs at 1:50.
Lunch is downstairs.
At 1:50.